Hey, and welcome to episode one. Episode one. We did a pilot episode, but it didn't work very well, but that's fine. But episode one of It Depends, the Microsoft 365 governance quiz. And I have a few friends here to help out. Let's see who we have in this episode. Hey guys, how you doing?
What's up?
Hello.
Hey, Moraine in a very, very cool hat. Kaz with an handkerchief and a red nose. And Anouk who's feeding lots. Oh, look, red wine to go with the nose. And Anouk. We're spread around. Moraine and I from Belgium, of course. And then Kaz is in Germany, I guess. I think I know that red wall. And Anouk is also in Belgium, of course, but very close to the Netherlands border. So only just in the country. Cool. So this is It Depends. The idea is we are going to talk around some governance issues. The guys are going to present on what they think is most important on a particular governance question, and then we're going to give them a mark and we're going to decide who was the best offering. You haven't got a chance to mark yet because we're not live, but one day this will be live streamed and you can put in your points. But let's invite folks. You got the names on the board. Kaz, tell us how you're feeling.
Living the dream, Steve. Hi, everyone. It's Kaz Nowicka here. As Steve said, from Germany. That's it.
What do you do, Kaz? Tell everybody what you do. You work for
This
CoreView?
is so boring. Yeah, of course. Yes. I work for CoreView. I'm product marketing at CoreView, former solutions architect, and of course working with Microsoft 365 / Office 365 for a decade now. So been there, done that, let's say.
A decade. Did you wait 9.5 years? You think it won't be long now? It won't be long. I can say I've been doing it for a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. It was a glass of wine, wasn't it? One day you went, no, I've been doing this for over 10 years. This is a decade. Yeah. Oh, cool. Anouk, how are you feeling? We did the pilot. It went relatively well. You sat there most of the time going, somebody will talk to me in a minute, but you're going to do better this time.
Yeah, I was distracted with other things, but I promise I won't do that today.
No distraction. And then Moreno looks like a terrorist with that hat on. Look, he's got his eyes covered. He's
Yeah. I still need some shades because just came back from the Bahamas with a slight tropical fever of some kind. So I still need to decompress a little bit.
Bit by a tsetse fly, no less. I'm fairly certain.
Probably.
But there you go. All right, guys. So this is where you get to learn, folks. That's what we're trying to do here. Moreno and I was at South Coast Summit. We decided to take a bit of a drive back through the country roads that kept getting blocked, and we kept having to go back and stuff. And we had this wild idea of what could we do better. We do the podcast, of course, and then we do speaking at events. And we thought, surely we can turn this into a game show. Moraine was doubtful. And at the end of this, he might be right and I might be wrong. We'll see. But here we are. So we've got a bit of an idea. So this is how it's going to work. I'm going to kick up a question. This is the question. There's an MS Teams owner, okay? I have a site containing sensitive content. As a team owner, what should I prioritize? Okay, and we've got 3 options. And each of the teams selected the option that they wanted to talk about. And we're going to try and find out which one gives the best case. They have 2.5 minutes to present their case. There's a bonus question, and they're not always very easy. But the idea is that the other contestants will give them a mark for their presentation. And then we'll tot them all up and we'll work out who's actually won the game at the end of the process. Does everybody understand what they're trying to do?
Crystal clear.
It's so clear. We don't care. We'll work it out on the way. So, so there we go. So who's going to go first? Well, Moraine was the first person that came back with his idea. So, again, this is the question. So as a Teams owner that I've got sensitive content on my site, what are the things that I should prioritize? And your statement was relatively easy. We think, we'll find out. Understand who is accessing the content from the site. All right, so here we go then. We'll get ourselves set up. You have 2.5 minutes, brother. Whoops, let me just
All right, all right. Yay! Cool. All right, 2.5 minutes to talk about my answer to the big question that if you have a Microsoft Teams team um, that contains sensitive information, what should you focus on? Well, of course, if there's sensitive information on the site, the big thing you need to focus on is who's capable of reading that content. I mean, that is like the most stupid, simplest thing that you can do. So there's very secret content on there. Might be HR content, might be sales content, might be mergers and acquisitions. Could all be one of those things. Could be some company secrets. Could be your secret stash of pictures to harass the CEO with later on. I don't know. Might be. So what do you need to do to manage that as an owner? Just you need to make sure that you know who is reading that content, who's accessing that content. The thing is that you can do it in a lot of different ways. So there's a lot of ways how you can do that. Of course, first of all, you need to set your security very well so that you know what's happening. You need to make sure how people could potentially share, not share. You can work with some sensitivity labels around this. You can do some audit log tracking around that. So just make sure that you know who's accessing the content, that you get notified if somebody else that is not supposed to access that content accesses the content. So that's kind of it. I mean, it doesn't get any easier than that. That is your number one basic understanding. Understand who is accessing the content that you own that is very secure or very sensitive. That's what you need to know. Point. And
Well, there was Marie. So that was cool. Understand how you access from the site. So if you ladies could just give me some points out of 5 for Moraine. Obviously, he got his full 8 points for his speech. But let's see what he does with the bonus question. All right, let me just lose the banner for a minute. And here's my question, Moraine. Are you ready? You can hear me okay?
I can
Very
hear you.
easy question, all right? So what I'd like you to do is to describe the easiest way to actually view who has guest access on your SharePoint site.
The easiest way is to just open up in Teams your settings and check your guest users and your members and your owners.
How many people agree? Will that cover who's
Reluctantly.
Yeah, no, not yet. So will that cover people that have been shared access to documents?
It will not.
No.
No.
So maybe you're not actually then monitoring who's got access to your sensitive content.
No, but if it's got sensitive content on there, I probably don't want to have it shared at all. I probably want to block my sharing capability because it's sensitive content. I want to track who can get on there, and I can't do that if any of these documents can be individually shared.
Okay. So you would actually turn sharing off.
Absolutely.
All right. Because what I would actually do is I'd go to the SharePoint site and I'd go to site usage. And then I would run the report at the bottom of the page that would tell me exactly who's got access to which of my documents. So even if you think you've turned it off, then at least you would be able to find out whether or not those documents have been shared.
I don't know if that works like you think it works.
I do, because I tested it before I wrote the excuse down.
All right. All right.
All righty. Anyway, I will give Moraine a point for that, or two. I'll work out what I think he did on that. That's okay. He's going to double check. Look, you haven't got time for this, Moraine. You can check your camera again. All right, and hopefully, ladies, you've sent me some points, and I will work out where we are going to go with that. All righty, superb. So anyway, so there's Moraine. Understanding. Let's take a look at the next one on the list. Would be Anouk. And this is your question. Regularly confirmed guest access is appropriate. Why is that so important?
So for me, regular confirming guest access in Microsoft Teams and SharePoint, not only on sites with sensitive information, but all sensitive all information is important, because you don't want anyone to access documents or library pages where he doesn't needs to belong to. So you can reduce the risk of information is being out open in public that doesn't needs to be in public. And it's also better for your team, because when they know that it's been done regularly, they know that they can be open and honest in a team, and they can work and talk about everything without being afraid that there is something open in there that it's not able to be shared with someone or with another organization or what else. It happens. It's also a good idea to start your guest user lifecycle management. So many people forgot, but there needs to be some kind of way that you can reduce you can work with guests, and that you can say, all right, now we need to check if this guest is still working for the company or is still needed to have access, and you remove them. And maybe one point that many people forgot, but everyone that is having access to a team or a SharePoint site is also using resources. So with removing accounts that are not able, that don't need to be in a site or in a team, then you are also optimizing your resources, and it will all work a little bit faster and a little bit better for the users that needs to work on it. So they will be happy, and they will be having much more fun. And maybe the last point to figuring out or think about is compliance. Many industries have some rules and regulations they need to follow, and by doing this, your compliance is also covered. So that was it for me.
Wow, that was close. Look, just a little bit of red there. All right, let's just add everybody back to the stage, and I really do need to find a way of doing that quickly. Who am I missing? Add to the stage. There you go. All right, cool. Well, you certainly get the 8 points there. You stopped right at 2.5 minutes, which is cool. So if Moraine and Kaz can at some point put their scores to me as to how well you thought Anouk covered that. And let's now go with the question. Okay, so I don't know whether Moraine wants to argue with me, because I saw he was looking up to see whether that sheet was there, or he was just checking it out, but that's fine. There are a number of ways. That's just one of those ways. The real question is whether that happens on a Teams team, but that's something that I hadn't checked. But anyway, we'll work on that later. But Anouk, so the idea is that you are configuring SharePoint guest access settings. All right. So tell me 3 of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 locations that I identified, any 3 of them where you can decide the governance around guest access.
The SharePoint Admin Center, for starting.
Admin Center, yes. Can you give me some more Admin Center?
Yes. There you can choose for your entire organization if it is if you are allowing guests, yes or no.
Correct.
Guests, existing guests are adding new guests as well. The Compliance Center, you can also add those settings. No?
Yeah, I didn't see that. I didn't get that listed in my research. I might be wrong, but I don't think so. I think it's recently moved.
It can be.
Yeah.
It was in the compliance center. That's how far I know it. I'm
It's-
not dealing with governance normally. I'm the underdog in here.
Oh, there we go. It didn't take long for the excuses to come out. Did
No.
it? All right, come on. I need two more.
Teams, admin center.
Teams,
we can edit.
users, guest access. Yeah, two.
And I really don't know the third one. I really thought it was the compliance center, so I need to say I don't know.
Yeah, I think it used to be this. So effectively, on the list I had was Entra, external identities. So you need to enable it sitting there now. And I think that took over a lot of the compliance stuff. So that may well be the same. Yes, you had the org settings, which was fine. Team users, guest access, which is fine. SharePoint admin policies and sharing. That might have been also the one that is the compliance center. SharePoint admin active sites, and then you get a whole bunch of more sharing settings so you can work out what's guest sitting there. 2 out of 3. Okay, I'll sit there and think about a point and work out what we did with Moraine, and then take it from there. Good. All right. So, are you like the idea that you asked for these bonus questions, guys, when we did the pilot? Just checking.
It's testing our knowledge and we learn from it.
Excellent, excellent. All righty. So here we go then, Kaz. It's your turn. Hopefully your cold will allow you to move forward. All right. So this is what you ended up with, and you ended up choosing it last because you were last person to respond to the question, so that's why you get this one. So yes, the third option then for an MS team owner containing sensitive content should prioritize which of the following. So how important then would it be to adapt member permissions as the site develops? Don't start until I say go.
So why adapting the permissions and the access as the site develops is important. I mean, all of the points that we're discussing today are very important. I think there is a very, let's say, small difference why, let's say, my point is slightly bit more important than the other. I think that the other two are a bit more reactive than proactive. So I mentioned that at some point before as well. So I think that, yes, monitoring access patterns is important for security and compliance. It is reactive. And we could say, the same for guest access. Like, we basically are looking for something that already happened in a way. So while adapting their permissions is highly proactive. So we are putting policies and controls in place and making sure that we are basically strengthening our internal access control first before we even look at the, let's say, external collaborative access and whatnot. So like, we should be looking, it's like managing, let's put it like that. Managing external access becomes like putting the cart before the horse, and that's not the way to do it. So we should first make sure that the access develops as the site develops is always aligned to the least privileged access concept, which is like the cornerstone of the information security. So things like role-based access control or group management, these kind of things should be always put in place first, rather than looking at the other priorities as described by Anouk and Maren. So yeah, that's basically my response. Sorry, that's the best I can do today.
You see, I also need to remember that I have to put myself on the stage before I talk. Otherwise, there's going to be a long silence. So we're learning all of the ways of StreamYard here as we go along. So let's start adding the others as well. There's bound to be some super buttons that I can work out as we go along. Cool. All right, well done. You still managed to get into the 8 points. So everybody got the timing right on their speeches. I think it's a bit easier than with a clock, so that's all good. So I will again allow Moraine and Anouk to give me some points out of 5 as you think it went. And this is really cool because we did the pilot. You all shouted your numbers out, so everybody could say, "Well, she gave me 5, so I'll give her 5." Well, he only gave me 2, so I'm going to give him 2. Now it's all blind. Well, I suppose you could actually look in the private chat.
It's not blind. We can all see what everyone wrote.
Yeah, you're right. I need to fix that. I'll get that one together later. We'll have an app with the form on it. It doesn't matter. All right, cool, Karen. So let's have a look at your bonus question. So here it is. I don't know whether this is the easiest one or the hardest one, but what is the easiest way to ascertain specific permissions for a user on a SharePoint site? So when you're actually finding, hey, I think I've set these done right, are they there? What is the way to ascertain specific permissions for a user on the site?
I mean, I think the majority of enterprises are relying heavily of that group membership, like I mentioned already before. I could say CoreView, that's the perfect solution. Like I have to put it out there. So that's another way.
Just ask CoreView. Hey, CoreView.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think like the group membership is the primarily way for enterprises to do it now.
Yeah, well, that would be not an individual. There's a way of checking an individual's permissions, whether they're in a particular group or not. Anybody else want to take a shot at it for a bonus point? No, come on, guys. You go to the permissions page on the site and you click on the button that says check permissions. And you enter the user's name and it'll tell you which groups they're in and what rights they get for the different groups.
Yeah, but that only works on site level. That doesn't really work on any deeper levels.
It is
unless you want to do it there as well.
How do you do it directly from inside Teams? That would be maybe a better way of working.
Sounds like a partner opportunity.
Why do you need to? If you go to the permissions on the SharePoint site, wherever it is, you can just do it from the interface. Type the name in and go boom. It tells you what you need.
Because not everybody is willing to work on the SharePoint site and willing to work inside Teams.
Well, there you go. It's a blog item waiting to be done there then. Yeah, maybe. All right. Well, I won't argue with you. You guys are far smarter than I am. So what I'm going to do is to just tot up the final scores. We should have some score music. I'll make a note here to improve that with some score music. And oh, dearie me. So I just need to type this score in. I must stop putting the scores into a separate folder.
In the meantime, while Steve is doing this, Marijn, what if the organization is changing? How do you do then with your answer? How do you know?
Don't change. We don't change. we never, organizations never change. I mean, that's a given. I mean, I've never noticed an organization change at all. So
collaboration just doesn't happen.
It's not necessary. No, it will all work without it. So no, but it's true. So when an owner changes, well, that's why you need to have proper permissions set up on your sensitive information, and you need to have sharing off, so that you have your list of all the people that can access the content, which is just in your Teams or in your SharePoint or whatever, and you can just confidently give it to the next person, and that next person will know that that list is just in order.
So you would have
this one in your answer.
Sorry?
I've missed this one in your answer.
Oh,
yeah. So
that's why you only gave me a 3. Oh.
If that's right, Marijn, why did you not include that in your speech?
I don't know.
Lack of practice? Lack of thinking? Too much time on a cruise ship?
Possibly. No, I mean, that was not the question. The question was, how do you deal with it? How do you, on what should you focus? And you should focus on making sure that you have that list of people that can access it and that doesn't change. And
Yeah. I think if I was the auditor and they said, hey, these sites that have got sensitive content, can you please tell me who had access to what site over what period of time? Then you'd need to find some way of tracking that. CoreView could do that again. Here we go. Guess who's going to sponsor our next episode of It Depends? All right. Do you want to know what the scores were?
hit me.
Here we go. Oh, Moraine.
Oh, I came in last. That's fine. Ladies first.
Ladies first.
I can deal with that.
Not
I'm
stressed.
a bigger man.
All righty. Cool.
It's not easy to do this two ladies to work to get a better score, so sorry for that one.
Hey, I don't care. I mean, the best person wins. That's how it is. So if I'm coming in last, that means that you two were even better than me. So I don't see that as a defeat.
Even when sick.
Even when sick.
All right, guys.
Sorry,
Thank
mate.
you very, very, very much. Again, episode 2 will be released soon, and you can see the 4 of us having so much fun putting this shit together. But there we go. So this was the question. All right, we were asked, MS team owners containing sensitive content should prioritize which of the following? And Moraine came for understanding who is accessing the content from the site. And I think you put a solid effort in there in the last 10 seconds before the show started to have a quick look up to see what needed to be done. But he's right. You need to actually plan for something like this so that it is in place. Well, no, that's the bonus question. Hide that one and go back here. There we go. So yes, regularly confirmed guest access is appropriate. There is a number of places we went through here that are covered or tried to remember some of them where guest is. And again, if Moraine is right, we don't want guest access, then there are a number of places where we can turn that off, both at the site level and at the organization level, which is cool. And of course, we have a dynamic site. It's constantly changing. And as Kaz pointed out, you need to be able to sort of check the permissions and make sure that the right people have got right access to the right content. And again, for me, I use the user permission option in the permissions page to throw a name in there. And there is a question as to whether it will pick people up out of 365 groups, but that's something that we can go and check and test. So there we go. Well, that was it. Episode 1 of It Depends, the governance game show. Thank you to our guests, Kaz and Moraine and Anouk. Thanks, guys. See you next time.